I see her in the dewy flowers, I see her fresh and fair.
I personally always feel so much more creative when I'm amongst nature. I feel like singing, I feel like writing when I'm surrounded by the sounds of the birds and the sounds of the river and the trees. And there is something when you take a moment just to consider that those are some of the same sounds that Burns would have himself been listening to.
I'm just amazed just going around Ellisland, just how much he managed to accomplish in a fairly short life. There is a harmony to the way it is laid out. You know, what Rastafarians call, you have a level vibes. The vibrations are very level and you feel immediately inclined to be still, be at rest, you know, settle yourself, enter into yourself in a good way. It humbles you. You realize you're just in the presence of something greater than you.
If we think about Burns Cottage at Alloway, wonderful place, but he's only really there as a very young boy, and it's the parental home. This is the home here at Ellisland that he physically, to some extent, builds. This is the landscape that he shapes. Here is a place a bit like Walter Scott's Abbotsford, where the poet's imagination is given free rein. We're talking about 130 poems and songs that he writes here at Ellisland, out of a corpus of around 600, including, of course, Auld Lang Syne. This is one of the sites where European romantic song begins to be birthed.
Ellisland is one of the best preserved 18th century farmsteads in Scotland, quite aside from its association with Burns. But it is in a very poor physical condition. There's decades of underinvestment and poor repairs in the past when people didn't understand the types of materials that you need to use. And what we're trying to do at Ellisland is to take the cottage back to the time of Burns, using the new information that we have discovered from the papers in Barnbougle Castle.
This is a receipt of all the materials that have went into the production of the farmhouse. It is the foundational resource for the project. What would the fabric of his spins, where he wrote some of his most famous poems and songs, actually look like? It's about detail. And this is really essential to the architects in terms of understanding the history and really kind of immersing not only ourselves but the visitors in that history too. The three buildings that you can see in front of you all were built by Burns. They're kind of laid out in this specific U shape. So you've got the barn space, you've got the farmhouse, and then you've got the byre space. Burns did designate these dual aspect windows to look out onto the river and to look out onto the kind of orchard space that he would have had. Conveniently, it doesn't look out onto the farmland at all. So the farmland and over there and kind of further beyond, that kind of shows you where his priorities were. It was very much, this room was for poetic and songwriting inspiration in the place of artistry.
In many ways, our restoration of the Burns family flute reflects the spirit of what we're trying to do at Ellisland, and indeed the spirit of what Burns was trying to do at Ellisland. We want it not just to be tangible culture, which you have in the buildings and our museum collection, but also intangible culture. which was the songs and poems that were created here and handed down from one generation to the next. When Burns was at Ellisland, he contributed to the volume The Scots Musical Museum because he recognised that a museum was for living culture.
There's a lady at work. Her name is Joyce, the bookkeeper.
The Centre for Song will have a programme of musical performances, many of them linked to the residencies and retreats that are going to happen. Our vision for Ellisland is to bring today's writers and musicians and poets from all over the world to experience the place that inspired Burns.
The trysts, the love affairs.
Yes, he was tristy, wasn't he?
He was very tristy, but they always happen in such nice locations. It's crucial for writers to have the chance to write, to think, to take time, to switch off the email, to get away from the admin. This is really rare in the modern world, to have the opportunity to spend a few days, a few weeks, a few months in somewhere like this. There's a poignancy here. This is not a place that should be kept in aspic. This was a working farm. It was a working place of poetic composition. And that should be the future as well. That this is somewhere you hope that in 250 years, they'll be talking about the poems that were written now, not just the poems that were written in the 18th century.
As a funder, we look for opportunities that are unique. We look for opportunities that will bring social return, community return, as well as economic return. And Ellisland, I think, brings all of those. We have something that will bring people from all over the world here. It touches on the arts, on heritage, on writing, on song, but also the real potential for economic growth and for boosting the visitor economy right here in the south of Scotland. The really key aspect is the vision that Joan and the team have to make it sustainable, to add parts onto the visitor experience that will draw in additional but really appropriate revenue. All of those things, when you put them together, create a really compelling picture and a really compelling funding opportunity.
When I went to school in Jamaica as a small child, I was taught some of the songs of Burns. And the lyrics are hardwired into me. There's no way that it didn't help to shape my own voice as a poet. We're sorely in need of people who inspire us to be better, to be loving. That doesn't happen very often in any society, where somebody comes along and embodies, or they help to shape the creativity and the imagination of their people. Should old acquaintance be forgotten, never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot, and days of Auld Lang Syne?
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and Auld Lang Syne? For Auld Lang Syne, my Jo, for Auld Lang Syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for Auld Lang Syne, and surely you'll buy your pints too.
I know from first-hand experience how transformational it can be to connect with your own cultural heritage to feel a sense of pride in that and to have the opportunity to express yourself through that. Being here at Ellisland is very, very powerful in that sense. I can't think of a better way to invest in our cultural heritage. Within this place is so much incredible history and so much potential to inspire the next generations. If we value that, then we must save Ellisland. We must look after it for the future.
Now here's a hand, my trusty fee, and gaze on